Your head nod meant you were ready.
Okay. Hey, y'all. Hey,
Hi.
guys. Hey, everyone. We're back.
Thanks
It
for
feels
being
like
here. Thanks for watching.
it feels like it has been a long time for us shooting, but
it just feels like it's been a long time for us being together. But Yasmine and I were just chatting, like we literally saw each other last week, and it feels like 4 months.
Literally.
It's the cold weather. I think it's the cold.
You see the sweater in the house.
That's that's creating separation vibes.
Turtleneck. Yeah.
Listen, you actually have a lot more skin.
Well, I had a jacket on, but I decided.
Oh, let me see that jacket real quick.
First of all, this is our jacket that no one knows who this jacket belongs. If you're watching and you know if this is your jacket, please let us know. Because I took it from Chari, and Chari was like, "You can't have it because it's Rachel's." And I was like, "Rachel, you want your jacket back?" She's like, "That's not mine. It's Chari's."
That ain't mine, baby. That ain't mine.
Okay, it's my jacket. Give it back.
That's not true. You didn't say that.
On this episode, we are taking back everything we ever gave. You heard her? Give it back. I want it back.
No takesies, backsies.
Okay, we're the type of friend group that we share everything. Literally, you'll see me with a dress on, and then Yasmine will post the same dress, or vice versa. It's just, it is what it is.
Honestly, it's always styled very differently, which I can appreciate. I was looking at my photo from my last screening, and Yasmine with the 2-piece on, that's mine. You with the 2-piece on, that's mine. And I'm just in the middle, like, presenting.
I'm hoping.
Okay, so normally I ask how everyone is doing. I want to kind of be cute with our time today. And so, how are you all feeling on this day, this Thursday?
I had to edit a few of our episodes, and I was listening back on one of the episodes, and I shared that my nephew died by suicide, but I used the word he committed suicide, and the social worker in me wanted to like cringe because in the moment I was just sharing with you guys, but I do want to correct myself and say that he died by suicide, and not use the word commit, because it's not a that I don't know what happened that night. I don't know if it's something like it's like a committed, like he admitted and committed to doing that. So I just wanted to like backtrack and just also know that on that episode we do have the suicide hotline phone number in the information section. So please feel free, if you are struggling, if you are going through that, call the number, reach out to somebody that you can get help from. So I just wanted to clear that out. And just know that it is rough out here in the current events world.
That's
very
real.
Rough.
That's real. I have to get used to speaking in those terms and using the proper terminology, because I know I say things very blasé. It's just who I am. And so I remember learning about saying someone passing by something as opposed to like just the action of it, just because you don't know what state that person was in. You don't even know if they maybe even regretted it in the middle of it. And so just saying that they did something just sounds a bit abrasive.
Yeah, but, and I know that we are Don't Cancel Us podcast, but there is something strong and unique about people who can backtrack and say, oh, I said something wrong, let me go back and say it, because maybe the culture did tell me that I did it the wrong way, so I'm going to come on here and say I apologize. But that's the best thing about our podcast. Even though we're saying don't cancel us, we are still creating that space of we may say things that are cancelable.
We want to be better. We don't want to be trash human beings.
We don't want to stay here.
This is also a learning process for us because we spent a significant amount of our lives learning language in a specific way. And now words mean different things than what they used to. So it's going to take us time to adjust to seeing.
Especially when you are someone who knows multiple languages. It's even more challenging.
I don't even know how you do it. I don't.
Yeah. What language are you dreaming?
What? Yeah, and thinking. Like when you think thoughts, are they in English?
So they are in English. Definitely. But I know some people who have to think in their native language or their native tongue, and then they transfer and switch over and then speak English. And so they're like, babes, what I thought about when it landed.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do think in that way. It's very, very few times. And I'll say something and people will be like, did you mean this? And I'm like,
yeah. Same. I don't speak another language, but I speak multiple dialects, and when we say stuff in patois, it's not, that ain't how I meant to say that, like that.
Right,
Like,
right. Oh. Ooh, the tongue is out for those who are just listening. The tongue's out. The hair has grown. They're both flipping their hair right now that they don't have.
Who would have thought that I would pick up on the language so well? I mean, I get about 99%.
Yes, you did well.
Patois.
Your English was really good in Jamaica. No, I'm just kidding.
You speak really good English. No, seriously. It's not easy. Even sometimes I struggle, and I'm just like,
for real. For real.
But I do a great, I'm learning that I'm pretty decent in picking it up, and I'm not speaking it back or anything, but just being able to catch the speed is kind of impressive.
It is very impressive. I used to, when my grandmother first moved back to Jamaica, oh my God, I would have to translate. Again, we're speaking English, but like she would try to go to the bakery and like order food and stuff. And it's like, they couldn't understand her because she had lived in England for so long. So she had a British accent and everybody was Jamaican. And I had to be like, what she means is, can you order this? Can we have, it was a lot.
Right. So that's my little plug on patois.
Good for you, friend.
We're happy for you. Welcome.
Very good.
Before we move forward, if you are watching, please give special attention to Chari's baby hairs because they are
Hey.
I was like, what is she? I need to zoom in on this right here.
Don't zoom. Don't, whoever's watching, because I got some gray hair, which is not a bad thing, but I do have some grays and some dandruff happening. But my baby hairs, y'all see this curl?
Hello.
I peeped it the moment I hit record, babes. I saw it. I said, what's she doing today? Where's she going?
I'm going to school.
You gonna pick up Zen with that? Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So something that I want to discuss is having your locations turned on for family members and friends. So there are some people who obviously use this as a safety measure.
Mm-hmm.
And for some people, it feels more than a safety measure. And so let's talk about if you have your location turned on, who you have it turned on for. I mean, to share it to whatever you feel comfortable with. And if you also are like a little bothered by people not wanting to share with you, or, vice versa.
I think it's beautiful how this conversation is birthing.
It's lovely. You see how she packaged that up?
Yeah,
as if we didn't literally just get into this heated. Dare I say?
Heat is still there. The heat's still there. But the funny thing is, Dane, my husband, mentioned this to you, Rachel. I think, like, jokingly, he was like, "Rachel, you didn't accept my request." And you're like, request for what? He's like, the location, like, you didn't accept it. And you're like, no, like, I was going to. And Yasmine is on the sideline looking like, what are y'all talking about? And why is this important?
Why is this a conversation?
Why is this a conversation? But I'm the gal. I have my location on for all of my family members, not all, most of my family members who live in the state of Georgia with me, Rachel and a few other friends. And I didn't see it as weird until Yasmine was like, why are you doing that? And for me, I share my location because, one, safety. I'm traveling always all around, and two, now that Yasmine has brought it to my attention, which I know she'll probably get into a little bit more, I am nosy. I want to know, like, if you're on the way, what's happening? Oh my God, it's 3 a.m. What is she doing? I want to know, but should I know? I don't. Also, lastly, my sister, if she's listening to this, she might get me, but my sister just be looking at my location like, oh, you was at Yasmine's house yesterday? Oh, I saw that you was at Jordan's school. What are you doing? It's like, what? Why are you doing all of this, and why is this important? But it also doesn't bother me, so I don't know. It's fine with me.
I guess this is my raised and only child thing showing up. This might be what it looks like. Because people knowing my whereabouts is quite odd to me if you don't need to know. Like, for safety, absolutely. I have my location turned on for you guys and a couple of other friends, my family, people who need to know where I am when they need to know. They know.
The key is to win. Mine is on all the time.
See, no.
I was gonna say, you haven't shared with me. I didn't know.
What your location? Well, see, here's the thing about me. I will give my location to like 1 or 2 people, and then I'll tell everybody else, if you're looking for me, contact them 2 people. Don't be. I also have an issue with people knowing my whereabouts. I think it's more unsafe than safe, because you start to use it as you weaponize it. Because then it's like, you want to know where I was, what I was doing, who I was with. And I'm a very private person. And so when you use that and you like throw it back in my face, like, yeah, why you eating cupcakes? Like, don't be in my diet like that. Like, you in other parts of my business that I don't need you in.
And I'm gonna need you to get out.
I get it. I understand for safety, and I understand the entertainment of it. I'm also not a person that has like a lot of apps on their phones or like checks messages and things like that. Like, I use my phone for work, and that's the extent of the use of it. So I'm just not a person that's gonna have another thing to check. No.
So I have different takes on it, because I remember when Chari just grabbed my phone and just kind of just, bitch, I'm gonna know where you at.
Well, in that instant, we needed to know where you were. We needed it on at that time. But if I'm just
she's had my location way before that.
Oh, this was the first time it was set up. Okay.
The first time it was set up, it was. And since
I don't remember, but I believe that's something I would do.
Yeah, no, you were like, hey, I remember you grabbing my phone and me thinking what's happening, but at the same time not caring like how you feel. And but then fast forward to you having a problem with it, then immediately I started to get stirred up, like, do I have a problem with it? Like, not even with Chari per se, but just in general. Like,
in general, it showed up the moment when the situation came up, and it was like, oh, let me see where this person is at. And I'm just like, why? But I get it. I get that it's also like an app and like an entertainment factor too. It's just not how I like to be entertained.
It's definitely not entertainment for me. I don't even think I knew where you could see the person's location till like I one day just stumbled upon it. And I saw it there and thought, oh, this is very accessible. It's right in our chat. Like, as soon as I open it and I scroll up, there she is. So sometimes I naturally now just see it because now I know it's there. Whereas before I didn't know it was there.
You know what is also about me? I don't always have my phone with me. Like, I'll leave the house without my phone. So you tracking my location is probably not even accurate.
Okay.
I think what was really cool one time, you guys didn't know this, but like I was somewhere, I think I was in Jamaica. Rachel, you were like somewhere else, and Yasmine was somewhere else, and all of our locations was just like different parts of the world. So I
must have been in Germany.
Yeah,
because
probably.
This was when you were,
and that I like. That is like a content. That's what I mean by entertainment. Like, it's just fun to watch, and I'm seeing people do these reels about like, if you need help, girl, I'm all the way over here, and they like zoom out on the. I think it's fun and cute, but it's just not fun and cute for me.
I think what's what people may find interesting is that me and my husband share locations, and maybe some couples that might be like a heated thing. It might be a non-negotiable of
Now, when
you
you
don't
talk
need to know
about
where.
that, when you talk about if
or those tags that they put on the keychain, like
Oh,
I'm
like the
looking
air
for,
tags.
I'm looking for,
okay,
I don't want to lose my keys, but really you tracking the person driving
Oh,
the
I didn't
car.
okay,
even think
I've
that.
heard of couples like putting tracking devices in their partner's car. That's
Okay.
a bit much, in my opinion. Like, if you feel like you have to monitor your spouse in this way, you might want to check on the security of the relationship overall. But in terms of my partner having, like, knowing where my whereabouts, again, for safety, I think that makes sense.
Yeah, I
It
think
gets tricky.
Dana and I started it when we were traveling, and he'll like either run to the store, or I might be like, I think it really started when I was in, it started a long time ago with travel, but I
Same.
don't find myself like obsessing over his location because 9 times out of 10 he tells me before, like, he's honest, so he's like, I'm
There's
going to the
transparency.
store.
Yeah.
I don't need to be like, where he at, what store he. It's not like that for us, but for some couples it might just be a non-negotiable. Like, you don't need to know where I'm at, just trust my word. I'm here, and that's where I'm at.
Head scratch is accurate because, yes, I feel
I
the
don't
same way.
know how I
I
would
think
feel.
it's a borderline between almost too aggressive. Like when you start
When
to
you
force stuff,
mm-hmm.
and it's like, I need to know where you at, and then
Yeah.
that's different.
Yeah, ours is very mutual, but when I think we had this conversation too, Rachel, and I know you feel this way too. There's a difference between when you are mutually coming to agreement with something and y'all both, or as a group, you stumble upon something like, yeah, let's do this, versus we need to do this. And it's like, whoa, I don't even want to do it anymore because of the energy that you're bringing of telling me that I have to do it.
Directly needing to do it.
Like, yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
agree.
I'm not there yet. I am
Which
still
part are you
very
not? What you mean?
I'm still very single. And so
Okay.
in terms of the conversation, like if it comes down to my partner requesting that, the request just looks different and the answer looks different each time.
I agree with that 100%. It's because who
I
are you
can
talking
totally
to?
see myself being, yeah, whatever. And then also being like, absolutely not. That energy, not today.
And it also depends on the intention. Because if you're coming at it from a possessive standpoint, then it's a red flag to me.
Right.
But if you're like, again, safety, we all travel a lot. I think it's important that people who are close to us know our location for that safety reason. But if you're being weird and you trying to bully me into sharing my location just because we dating and you can't trust me, then that's different.
That's when you have to get down to the nitty gritty. I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
But this conversation made me think of something that I was asked earlier today, was like, what is one of the biggest boundaries you've created as an adult? And to make it specific to our group, I've heard a lot. First off, we've gotten a lot of great feedback since rolling out our podcast.
Yes! Thank you guys so much.
We love everything that everyone has had to say, the videos, the text messages, the voice messages. We love it all.
Yes, thank you.
As time progresses, we will be more intentional about kind of breaking down our friendship into layers, because I think people are seeing one thing, but they're not understanding the dynamic, and they have questions like, you guys are showing up this way, but we don't understand the backstory.
And maybe we could talk a little bit about it today, because also I think how we show up in our friendship speaks to who we are individually. Like, you guys have sisters, and the dynamics are just different.
Yeah.
I have sisters too, by the way.
Oh, yes, you do, actually. So I thought, before we fully have a full episode on the dynamic of our actual friendship and what really happens, because we're not always, I'm asking for shit back from Chari as we speak.
Like you're asking for what? Yeah.
Not always in good terms. But what is one boundary you would say you've had to create for this friendship?
Ooh.
I would say it's very
Oh,
early
you have an
on.
answer.
Of course.
You got
Yes.
boundaries,
Ready.
Yeah. You don't have
Tell
I'm
us.
kidding. Please go.
Oh.
Go ahead. I don't have an answer. That's why I'm saying that.
The first thing that came to mind is, man, now I forgot. Oh, picking and choosing the battle. Picking and choosing the battle.
Ooh.
Specifically,
Like what?
so like I learned what a boundary was last year. In the sense that I've learned that a boundary is something that you create for yourself and not what you expect others to do for you. And a lot of times people are like, my boundary is people not yelling at me. That's not a boundary. Your boundary is when people do yell at you, you walk away. When people do have those qualities of maybe making you angry or stirring you up, you recognize it. That's your boundary. Like you're not going to put up with it. You can't control what other people do. So for me, once I've learned like, I can take this into my friendship and in my marriage too. I can't have a boundary of my husband and having this expectation that he's going to perform a certain way when it's really all on me. So when we have disagreements or when things are being said in a group chat that I want to say something, I like have to second guess myself in sense of like, do I need to respond? Do I need to say that? Do I need to entertain this conversation? Is it about me? Am I in my feelings? What's going on here? That's my boundary, is like picking and choosing when I want to respond and what's worth me to joke around with, or what's worth me like taking things super serious, because it's a lot of energy here. As people can see, we carry all different types of energy. And it's important for us to preserve that, and not just argue for no reason. Like, so that's for me. It's really picking and choosing when I'm going to say something, when I'm not going to say something, and when I want to joke about something.
I think that's a good one. I think those are good ones. I'm definitely, like me personally, curious about specific moments that involve me specifically, but it's fine.
I'll circle them and send them back to you in a draft. This was the moment when I didn't respond.
And I wanted to say this. I think I have a similar group chat one because with me, my boundary overall is about my schedule, and I'm very strict, I guess, about my schedule. That's my boundary. Like my life is very organized and compartmentalized. I don't know how healthy that is, but we'll unpack that later. And I used to run to when I hear the messages, I used to like run to my phone and like, oh my God, what's happening? Because the group chat be dinging like the house is on fire. And I'm just like, oh my, like, what happened? And I've learned, and I'm still learning to like, it's nothing. The socks, we need help figuring out what we're wearing. Like, it's nothing that I need to be running to my phone for. But I do love, like, when I do have a moment to, like, catch up in the chat. It's, like, reading. It's fun. It's, like, exciting. Like, I can't wait. Literally. I can't wait to get into it. Like, when I hear it going off, I'm like, let it pile up so that I have a lot of episodes.
I got something to watch later.
Yes, exactly. But I used to and sometimes I still do, because who likes to work? But I would let like group chat interfere with like work a lot, and I just have a strict boundary. I'm like, I'm working during these times. Let me get my work done, and then I can have all the fun. I can drink.
Yeah, I think even when we were planning a lot of these episodes, there was moments where Rachel was like, we need the camera to show us having the count, like having 30-minute conversations about all of our calendars and respecting all of our schedules. Because literally on this call, before this call, Yasmine was like, Chari, when is your hard stop? When do we have to when do we have to stop? Because you all respect that I have to go pick up my daughter and go to school, or Rachel having clients that's calling her randomly. So that is, I like that too.
Yeah, me too.
So it's funny that I brought the question up because I didn't really think of an answer. But I will say that some of the things that I have really learned is the time schedule thing. Sometimes I'm sending messages in our chat because I may just have a moment of like the 2 a.m. and I'm like, this is the time I'm going to send all my messages. And lately I'm like, wow, Shari has created a boundary where at 8 or 9, she stops responding on a weeknight. And you never said it, but I've noticed it's been happening.
Yeah. It's
And I'm
definitely
like,
family time then.
I go to sleep at night. I don't know about you guys, but I'll be asleep.
I mean,
you be in the
sometimes
group
you're awake
chat.
with me.
If I'm awake, I'm working. So if I'm working, I'm like, we might as well key.
Let's do it. Yeah. So I think the biggest thing I've learned and respecting the boundaries for me is the schedule, because Yasmine will put you in your place and you will gather your edges and know, hey guys, I actually have a meeting, so I won't be responding for the next 2 hours. And it's so weird. Like that dynamic is very normal, but
It sounds bad.
I think younger me would have thought like, what the fuck?
Who does she think she is? Because that's what I would.
She
That's what I
is.
would think when I see my messages I'm just like, who is this girl?
But it's real. We all have schedules.
If one thing falls out of line, my whole day, it's like, I learned this about flights as well. Did y'all know they only clean, if you take a morning flight, the first flight of the day, that's the only time you're guaranteed to have a life vest. You're guaranteed to have a clean plane.
Guaranteed.
Yes, girl, people be stealing life vests as trophies and like monumental things. So you got to check under your seat, because if you got an afternoon or evening flight, that's it. But the first flight, if the first flight is delayed, the rest of the flights are delayed. And so that's how my life is.
But the thing is, too, this podcast kind of developed where we wanted to schedule more time together. So we were like, let's put it on a calendar and we have time to chat and talk. So
yes,
we kind of created like an open conversation / a business for us to be friends.
Connect.
Yeah.
Have conversation, converse.
Yes. And one thing about me, even though I do have a strict schedule, if kikiing and like just, I don't know, going paintballing, if it's on my schedule, I'm going to show up and be fully present for that. So if you tell me you want to hang out or talk or whatever, like, I'm available if it's on my schedule.
Yeah. I will say, for the one boundary that I think has been shown the most growth in my life would probably be just the scheduling, because for a while I just didn't. They just felt really grown up to do these things. And then I realized everyone was doing it around me, where let me know what date and time so that I could work with that. And I'm like, okay, I guess. And so a couple of days ago, I was talking to my mom about it and saying how she always forgets things. I'm like, Mom, just put it on your calendar. You know, when Shari started doing it to me, I like really had an issue with it, but now everything's on my calendar. So when you ask me to do something, I go look at my calendar and say, I don't have anything on there for that day. I just have someone's birthday, you know?
I'm wide open.
Right.
I think also another thing about me, my calendar, a portion of my day is open to the public. So if people want to book, you know, consultations and stuff with me. So if I don't have that time blocked and somebody books a consultation that day, I can't help you.
Right. It is important to kind of like dispel that ick around like your friend sending you a calendar invite and how they send it. But respectfully, it's like, I want to create time for you and I want to show up for you the best that I can. And if you're calling me between 9 and 11, my daughter's going to be yelling, my husband's going to be asking me questions, I have homework due, I will not give you all of the attention that you deserve.
I won't. Yeah.
That's facts. And I think that's probably like the biggest thing I want our listeners to take away from this is probably just being more intentional about writing things down, really scheduling things, and connecting with people and saying, hey, this day I'm available. How are you looking? This, and that, and putting it in the calendar and sharing it, because it feels business-like, but really,
I know.
what is success without that?
Hello.
Yeah.
Come on. Everybody who rich got a schedule and a calendar. So just do the math.
Or someone at least managing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's really important. And then it'll help us be more, for the takeaway for the listener, you're more present. If you have two things going at one time, we're not conditioned to multitask.
Right.
So you can just have a good time at dinner or have a good time at brunch without worrying about something else that's also going on. Just schedule it. Put it on the schedule.
And
Yeah.
I think too, if you don't have people, maybe you don't have a friend group or you are not sharing your calendar with other people, start with yourself. So maybe if that's morning routine, block that out in your calendar and practice with yourself. Or if it's prayer at 7 to 8, it's easy to cancel appointments for yourself. And because I've done this, I've put things on the calendar for myself and I've canceled on myself. But when I see it on the calendar and I canceled on myself weeks upon weeks upon weeks, it kind of feels, you feel that shift of like, this is why you didn't send out that email and your email list is not growing or your business is not growing, because you scheduled it and you didn't do what you said that you was going to do.
Exactly.
I'm crying inside.
I have this conversation with everyone I talk to. I'm just like, write it down, make a list, get a dry erase board, like whatever helps you remember stuff. We're not conditioned to remember every single task like at once. If I can ask people like, oh, what are you doing next weekend? And they have it in their head. I'm just like, whoa, there's no space for other thoughts.
That's honestly how I used to roll. I would just put things in my head and just be like, oh no, that day I'm supposed to be hanging with the girls, or I have a baby shower to go to.
And how often did you forget stuff or were late to stuff?
Not much, to be fair. I don't have that many friends, so not like I was booked and busy, But I know I'm also the type of person where if I have like 3 to 5 things to do in one day and it requires location change, I am done for the week.
For sure.
We wrapped up.
Literally.
So 100%. That's like, so those days I feel more productive because I'm like, oh, checking it off. But then when it's done, babes, I need 3 days of sleep. Don't
recovery days.
100%.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get us a shirt that says 100%. Because
100%.
that
100%.
100%.
Yeah.
100.
Yeah. My mom now has a dry erase board, so I've converted her. She hates it, but she uses it, and she knows that she knows that it works. So she's having this fight, but it's already made her more productive.
Yeah, I definitely love it for you. And there's been times where I've come to your house and I see what's on the list, and I'm just like, wow, she literally puts every single thing down.
Everything.
I would waste my entire day just writing.
I do have a day just of scheduling. Yeah, I do plan my schedule, and it takes time.
Y'all heard that?
No, but it becomes fun or obsessive once you start like putting things on a calendar. Then you start to write like simple things like, okay, I'm going to add peanut butter first on the sandwich and then the jelly. And you just start like adding random things that you just want to cross off because it's fun crossing it off.
Yeah, it's the science in the brain where you can check things off your list and it makes you feel like you did something.
100%. I have a to-do list that I start with every morning with my business partner, and I will have a fit if we don't talk about it, because I will create one before we get on a call, especially on a Monday. And I'm like, over the weekend, it's all been brewing in my head. And so Sunday night or Monday morning before we get on a call, I'm like,
pour it out.
All things. I'm like, let's address this. What did they say? How did you spoke to this person? What happened? Okay, we're briefed. Now let's kind of, attack the day. And that alone has made me, I think, way more concise with the work that I do and just everything else. But I think that's where it stops for me, the list.
That's fair.
I think too, like I said, inviting these type of techniques in everyday life, like even at your dinner table or with your family. I think sometimes it's hard for us to even have conversations or get things done with your family because we don't invite those techniques into the space because we are so maybe burnt out by it, or it feels
afraid
like
of it,
work,
or it's new.
Right, afraid or new. But
for them.
I think we should look at some of the things that we do in the business world or in things that get things done and bring it to our family space, bring it into our household, bring it into our friendships, because I think that's how we get a lot of things done. It's like we operate not necessarily as a business, but we take some of those techniques and some of those
very efficient.
Yes, it's very efficient.
They're efficient, and they're also, well, this started for me. My therapist suggested it to me because I had a hard time sleeping. Like I would have a hard time like falling asleep. And she was just like, you have to empty your brain before you go to bed. So like write out the things you're thinking about. A lot of the times it was about what I had to do tomorrow or like the next day or that week. Huh?
No, I'm just like concurring with saying.
Yeah.
Like,
so that's
I will dream about to-do list. Like
you will
fully dream.
Yeah.
Deep in it. I'm like, I can't sleep.
It's a thing. And so when it started to affect my sleep, people have trouble sleeping all the time. It felt like a normal thing. And she was like, it doesn't have to be. If you just write it down the day before. And at one point, my to-do list or my calendar was literally just a notepad on my bedside table that I would just scribble my whatever had to happen. And then it just turned into me putting it into a calendar and making it make more sense. But it started to affect my sleep. And if I'm sleepy, my heart goes out to everybody around me because I'm not a nice person. Yeah, it is.
100%. Yeah, that for sure is a thing. Because at one point I was gonna get like a recorder.
Yeah.
Because I would have the best ideas at night or when I'm about to fall asleep.
Yeah.
My brain would just enter this space where I was tapping into things. And what was interesting about that is, I think I saw a podcast where, and I probably need to fact check this, but they say that when you're on a plane at a certain altitude, it's not a good idea to sleep on flights because at the altitude you're at, you have the freshest ideas and you are more creative in those spaces. And so
they say the same thing about showering.
Showering?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't do that often, but
we don't, but
we'll get that done.
Yeah, there's like a shower method, like if you need, and there's products and people who have, just like I have my notepad on my nightstand, they have it in their shower because you get really good ideas in the shower apparently. Or if you're feeling like overwhelmed or like you have like a writer's block moment, they say take a shower and like, I don't know, it does something.
Wow. Don't think that works for me. I'm not in the shower long enough. Very fast. Don't take many, and I'm also very fast. 3 to 5 minutes, I'm out.
Wow.
I don't take long showers. I can't wait till have like a freestanding tub in like my house one day so I can kind of have those moments, those luxe moments. But
Go ahead.
Don't cancel me because I'll go ahead and go first. And it's silly, but it's also very kind of normal for me. I took a shower last night and I was telling the girls earlier that I'm trying a new deodorant because I want to use products that don't have aluminum or all natural, but I sweat a lot. Used it last night. It was Tom's. This morning, been in a robe. It's like I'm in 68-degree weather in my house. Comfortable. Went to go change and Tom's ain't gonna be it. So I definitely just rubbed it back on there because I'm not showering today. So we'll just try again tomorrow. That's all I got. It's probably gonna be a lot about hygiene for me.
I hate this for us. We're not nasty. Like we smell good. Like if you ever
100%.
came in contact with us, we look good and we smell good.
But this is not really juicy, but don't cancel me. But I never used to believe in travel agents, and like I'm a whole travel agent right now. But I booked a few clients, and I just did like a compare and contrast, and I've noticed like I've been giving them some really good deals. Like my portal has like a lot of discounts. So yeah, don't cancel me. I didn't believe in my work, but I believe in it now.
Question about that before we get off is
is this for the people or for us?
Well, I'm curious if have you done a side by side without using your,
Yes.
and is
Yes.
it really deals?
So I booked for a client to
Because I
go
don't
to
believe
Mexico.
in it either.
Yeah, right? They are, somebody told me in Jamaica that I was like, what did he say? Extinct?
A dying species.
He thought I was a dying species because I'm a travel agent, but I was looking for a client for Mexico this Saturday, and literally did it 2 days ago. Flight for 2 people was $3,000. I found them 2 people
Mexico they going to?
Delta.
Right.
I'll tell y'all later, but it was for 2 people, and I found them 2 Delta flights. The Delta flight was listed as $3,000 for 2 people. I found them 2 Delta flights, hotel and car rental for $2,000.
How'd you do that?
Are we going?
It's
If we go to Mexico, just say that.
so as a
I've
travel
been invited for
agent,
December though.
To Mexico?
you get a list of vendors that you have access to. So I have
Oh.
access to Delta Vacations, and if people don't know this, travel agents, if you don't know anything about the world, I pay monthly to be a travel agent. And then, so basically I'm paying for the directory of those vendors, 200 tons and tons and tons of vendors. A really good travel agent knows which vendor to use for a specific client. That's why you have travel agents who still exist. But yeah, Delta Vacations, I was able to find it, and I saved them like $1,000. And I was like,
we're wrapping up. Thank you for listening. You can find us on Spotify.
hey.
You can find us on YouTube, on Patreon. If you are a member, we love you.
We're filming another Patreon episode this Saturday.
Oh, we definitely are.
And Rachel's gonna share.
Are you gonna share? I'll share mine if you share yours.
I'm down for Patreon.
For Patreon.
I'm down for Patreon. All right, people. This is the
Don't
cancel us
podcast. Sorry, you literally ask for this all the time and you never are ready.
What is the speed that we're going? Don't cancel us podcast. Don't cancel us podcast. Don't cancel us podcast. Don't cancel us podcast.
Can we just do normal talking? It's 20 minutes.
Okay. Go ahead. I'll catch.